Hi everyone, welcome to Single Value. So today we're going to look at Virgin Galactic, and this stock is flying today. It hasn't actually been over $30 in such a long time that I thought it's a milestone that it pushes to recent highs, and it's a really good trend, and it's a really good thing on charts as well. Whenever it pushes us to, in a sense, new highs, it's a really good signal of really nice momentum, the market changing in its favor, and good things to come. Of course, they don't have a flight date set, but they are making progress, and that's the thing. Like, that's the main thing I really want to highlight. Like, when you invest in companies, you're not just going to focus on the ticker symbol. Like, there is a ticker symbol, but there is also a company behind it all. And what really moves this share price is everything behind it. Okay, so we're going to just do a short review of this share chart. And back in February, when it reached 37.35, that was a good time. But ever since, it hasn't actually reached this high in a long time, like above $30. So the fact that it reaches above $30 today is an extremely good sign of really good momentum building in the stock. And as if they keep doing the right things, it keeps going higher, and then we have a situation where it could potentially go to an all-time high. And that's the beauty of momentum building in stocks. It's kind of like when you look at Tesla and you go, oh, it's moving beyond what I thought it would, and then now it's continuing to move higher and higher, and then it gets the attention of the world, because in a sense, the more a stock moves up, the more attention it gets from everyone else. And the more attention it gets, the more those efficiencies start to play in. Like, I did tell you the stock was very cheap. It's still, in a sense, very cheap for what they do in terms of space. But of course, they start to fly, and in that time, they're recruiting a lot of value to you as a shareholder. Now, if you don't really get like an update from the company specifically, but you can actually go and do your own research, and a lot of companies will have social media posts, or there'll be stuff you can find indirectly. Like, I remember when Tesla was building their Shanghai factory, and this is when before the share price was even flying. Like, you could see that Tesla was building a lot of value in that Shanghai factory, and no one's really noticing. And then once it was built and everything connected, the share price shot up because all this value all suddenly just connected. It all made sense to everyone, and boom, stock did really well. And the same thing with Virgin Galactic. Like, they're building so much value. Every time you look at, like, say, the Instagram, like, they love Instagram. Like, they love to put all the best pictures on here. So if you have an account, definitely follow this company if you have this stock, because nothing gives you more progress than this. So what happened in the weekend was the Spaceship 2 Unity mated with the mothership. So I guess you kind of get the idea what mated means. It just connected. So, like, you've got it separate here, and then they join it up. And in a sense, that's a big milestone, because when it comes to space, every little bit of technicality is risk, and everything they manage to do right is value accrued to the shareholder. And kudos to the company, they've done really well. So the fact that I've connected this together means, hey, we're ready to fly, we just need to set a date, and we're off. So I think the market kind of views this as an extremely good signal that this company is ready to fly. There is no technical difficulties that have emerged, and basically market's excited, everyone's excited, stock price is moving upwards, and that's kind of stuff that you want to look at when you research a company. The big question is, how many of these ships do they have? Because for a lot of people, they look the same. So you go, oh, do they have more than one of these, or do they just have one of these? Is there a backup, or is there no backup? And that's where you do your research. So, like, you could go to something as easy as Wikipedia, where it documents a lot of these things. Of course, Wikipedia as a source may not be always the most reliable, but here we've got the mothership. They have one mothership, so it isn't like ideal that they just have one mothership, and it's as old as 2008. So this is a 12-year-old mothership. So if we split that here, so the thing that looks like two planes merged together. That's the mothership, and that's called VMS Eve. So if you remember that, every time you look at the photo, you go, okay, I know what this is. I know this is VMS Eve, and that's VMS stands for Virgin Mothership, and it's called Eve. And they have Spaceship 2, which is all the little, these spaceships here that get released into space. Currently, they just have one. Like, they had VSS Enterprise, but that was the one that unfortunately, had an incident, and now it's no more. And now we have VSS Unity, and that's been present since 2016. So this spaceship here is about 4 years old now, which is, they've been at this for quite a while now. And they've got VSS3, which is under construction and predicted to fly, be tested in the first quarter of next year. So you kind of have a nice timeline and where the progress of the company is. So every time you see a photo like this, it means progress. It means it's building shareholder value. Sometimes it might not show up in the share price, but if you're in a company for a long term, then you will research these things. You will find the progress of the company, and sometimes it takes a while to really build that value into the stock. But once it builds the value into the stock, it's like literally, it's like an overnight success. It's like someone that does something for so much, and so they put so much time and effort into something that they don't seem like they're going to succeed for a long time. But the minute they succeed, they appear like an overnight success, and then you go, wow, what happened? Were they just really lucky, or did they build their craft for a very long time? And all of a sudden, they're an overnight success. And that's the thing, like, it might seem like Virgin Galactics all of a sudden become an overnight success. The minute they fly, it will seem like that. Especially when the share price is moving even higher than this. Then you will be looking at this going, wow, what happened to this stock? Or something like that. And that's the thing. Every time they post a video, it is to them progress. Like, the company posts something because they kind of think it's progress. And every post, in a sense, accrues value. And I want you to think about it in that sense. Like, all these posts here, every time they post something, to them, it's worth something. And to you as a shareholder, it's definitely also worth something. And also here, like, this doesn't seem like much. They post the logo of what their pilots will be wearing. Like, they have their uniforms for their pilots. And then, like, for some people, it doesn't seem like much. It's like, okay, great, you have a uniform, and everything. But it's more than that. It's also like a brand. It's also that, progression of the company. Like, again, everything takes time. Like, like, in order to design a uniform, it took time, it took planning. And even this uniform here, as much as it's really simple, it's kind of accruing value to you as a shareholder, and I really want you to think of it that way. So that's why when you see these things, it's normal to just get excited, even though it's very simple, because it accrues value to you as a shareholder, and at the end of the day, like, that's the beauty of it, right? Every time they do something extra, every time, all these small components add up to something quite big in the future. So as much as they're not flying, it's cool to see that progress of the pilot uniforms. It's cool to see the mothership connecting with the spaceship. And yeah, I think that's what we want to kind of research. So ignore the share price sometimes. Like, I think we get affected by the share price moving up and down a lot, particularly with this stock where the volatility is immense. But of course, recently the stock has been on a tear. Like, it's reaching new levels each time. And of course, after this rise, it might have another dip before it rises again, and it's going to be very normal. But of course, I'm just concerned with the long term and the future projections of this company. And of course, as the value moves higher, you might want to consider that potentially you might want to take some profit, because we never know how good things are until they really happen. Like until they fly, there's still quite a bit of risk being accrued in this company as well. But every time they do something, it reduces this risk. It also adds value to you as a shareholder. And that's the beauty of investing in stocks. You want something that's measurable. You don't want, say, well, good example here, Nikola. You don't really want a company like this that has no product. Like Nikola has an idea, it's got prototypes, or so-called prototypes, that they roll down hills. And yeah, like you don't really get much progression in terms of physical progression. Like I like to see physical things happen, because until everything is really being manufactured, everything's being tested, it's still in a sense an idea. Like it's kind of like you wake up in the morning and you have an idea and you go, well, I'm really inspired, I have this beautiful idea, and you might make a start and draw something on a bit of paper, but you never continue on with that. Like at the end of the day, that idea is still an idea until you actually execute on the idea. And I like to see companies executing on the ideas, and that's when you, as a shareholder, see that value. Like ideas are great, ideas are brilliant. They can lead to great things, but until you actually execute, like you want to consider it as a shareholder. To you as a shareholder, an idea is in its basic form just an idea. Whereas you as a shareholder want progress, you want execution, and until you get execution, you don't actually get that much value as a shareholder, and you won't see it in the share price that much unless the management team manages to excite everyone around the idea. Then potentially you're investing in vaporware where nothing really exists except the ideas and your imagination that this could be something big. But whereas if I look at Virgin Galactic, I see something that's very concrete. I see a spaceship. I see a mothership. I see pilots. That's the cool thing. Like we're not just condensing something to be too simple. We want to consider every aspect of this company that actually takes time and effort. You don't just automatically find a pilot from anywhere. You got to find people who actually know what they're doing, that actually wanted to be there as well. And you also you don't build a spaceship or mothership overnight as well. It takes time. And as we can see, like this has been there since 2008, and this has been here since 2016. These have been here for many, many years, and that is a thing. That is a value accruing, and over time, the minute they say we've gone from an idea to actually building these planes to actually flying, then that really proves that executing and a lot of value begins to accrue. And as much as value accrues, you actually want this to be realized. And sometimes the market is very reluctant to realize value unless it's very certain. Sometimes it can be manipulated based on the perception of certainty, which Nikola managed to do quite well by promising a lot and really delivering nothing. Whereas with Virgin Galactic, like in a sense, they're not promising as much yet, but they're starting to deliver. And of course, when they're doing something new, it's always going to take a bit more time than usual. And these things happen. Like it's kind of like if you look at Tesla, if you look at how many times they had delays, like you may not notice it now because they're executing on everything they do right now, and they're doing so well. But when they were starting, say like their first few cars, they were having constant delays. Like we're not even talking like small delays, we're talking like 1 or 2 year delays. Imagine that if you're like a shareholder or if you're a customer and a company goes, oh well, we were meant to deliver your car this year, but it might take another 1 or 2 years. So like not even Tesla itself was delivering on time. So the fact that Virgin Galactic's not delivering on time isn't a big problem. You just want to see progress, and I think you see a lot of progress when you do research like this. So yeah, like let me know if you ever do this as well. Like I love to just come onto their page and just review their stuff, and it just gives me more of an idea of this company and where it's headed. And it's always a beautiful part. And then when the share price reacts in the same way, of course, it's always a bit of happiness there too as well. Until then, if you've got any comments or questions, post below. Yeah, like or comment or subscribe. You know, those things are always really helpful, particularly with the time and effort I'm putting in. It's good to see that effort, be recognized in some sense. But of course, you don't have to do it either. You do it with, with independence. No way do I ever want to force anyone to like or subscribe or anything. I produce it because I enjoy it. That is for me the most ultimate thing anyway. And until then, good luck investing, everyone. Wish you well.